Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can dramatically reduce your bait bill when you're carp fishing. I'm not talking specimen hunting here, I'm just talking about the average guy that goes out, has a pleasure fishing or a match day on the local pond, catching fish between, I don't know, anything between £1 and £15. And if you're lucky, you never know, you may get a 20 pounder. And this bait will actually do that. Now we all know that bait is really expensive, especially pellets. In the UK, if you go to the local tackle shop, you'll find that a kilo bag costs you, I don't know, something like £4, which in American terms is probably guessing at sort of $6, Australian, around about the same sort of price, and that's for a kilo. Doesn't last all that long, maybe one session, you might get a bit more out of it, but that's the same for whether it be hard pellets, expander pellets, whatever it is you want to use for throwing in. And of course, the way around that is to use one of these and some of these. Let's show you how it's done, shall we? Okay, so let's start off with the pellets. I've actually gone out and bought these in bulk. I went to a pet shop actually, and I bought a 10 kilo bag, and it cost me a few pounds. It was probably something like £8 or £9 in the UK, that sort of thing. And it's a thing called Chicken Layer Pellets, as I just showed you. There they are. And if I put them in here, you'll see they sink very well. Now they are quite hard to start with, but what I'm going to do, and you can actually use these just as they come out of the bag, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat them with some of this stuff. This is turmeric, which you can buy in the local supermarket. Comes in powdered form, and I'm going to get a dessert spoon and put it onto the bait. Now, in order for it to stick, I need to make this wet. So if I take some water, just fill it up enough to cover all of the bait, make sure it's all sunk, bit of surface tension there. As you can see, that's all sunk. And what I'll do now, I'll immediately drain that off. You need to drain off as much water as you can. The idea being to just give it a coating of water, then take a dessert spoon, take a good heaped one, and maybe another small amount there. Be careful of this stuff, sticks to work surfaces, you have to use bleach to get it off. Right, and then what you have to do is put the lid on, make sure you close it down, and just give it a good shake. Now, I have actually only filled this 3-pint tub with about half full, so it's probably about 1.5 pints or so, a litre or so. Good shake, and have a quick look. And you should find, as you see there, that everything is covered. You don't want to put too much turmeric in to start with. Just start off with that dessert spoon plus a little bit if you're using this much bait, and have a look and see where you're going. Now the idea is that what you do is you leave these either for a few hours or overnight. Personally, I leave it overnight. I find that soaks in all the flavour and the colouring, and then you get a nice light brown coloured pellet. And it sinks relatively slowly, a little bit slower than it did when it was first out of the bag. And that's all you have to do with it. Let's put that on one side. And now I'll put the lid back on the turmeric because I've already knocked it over once today. Let's now talk about what we're going to do with the potato. Now the potato is going to be used for hook pellets. It's an age-old bait. The great Dick Walker back in the 50s and 60s pioneered the use of potatoes for, in his case it was specimen carp, but match anglers still use these. And let me show you how it's done. First of all, take a sharp knife and just take a small amount off the side to expose it. You don't need to wash or peel it or anything because you're not going to need to do that. Then I'm going to use these punches here. That's a 4mm, 6mm, 10mm and a 14mm. And in fact, as you can see, they're all different. These first two bits came out of a plastic tube from a model shop. This one is from an old bank stick, and this actually was the tube that used to contain a quiver tip. And the only reason they're all different is because I've mislaid my punches. So I've got to order some new ones up. But again, on the subject of keeping it cheap, these work perfectly well. So what we'll do is let's take the 6mm size, because that's probably what I'm going to use most of all. And I'm going to cut a slice of this potato at about 6mm thick. Okay. And then all you do, I've actually sharpened the ends of these a little, just with a bit of sandpaper, just to take off the flatness of it. But all you're going to do is put that in. Okay, there's 6 in there now. Then you have to get it out. I've just got this piece of brass just to push them through. But as you see, I've now got some 6mm pellets. Now these stay on the hook excellently. They stay on far better than expander pellets do, and you can flavour them. And so, in the same way as before, I'm going to flavour them with the turmeric. Now in good old-fashioned Blue Peter style, for those of you who are a bit older and in the UK, these are some I produced earlier. In fact, I did these yesterday, and these are the 4mm pellets. Let me put them into the jar for you. And they've soaked up the water overnight. Sorry, and they've soaked up the turmeric overnight. If I give you a 6mm one, let's just give this a shake in the water. Okay. And you can see now that that pellet has taken on the colour of the turmeric, and it'll stay that way. It's also taken on the flavour of the turmeric. So if you think about it, we're feeding the loose feed pellets in turmeric. They're about 4mm. This is about 6mm. And so if you think like a fish, you've got that on the bottom and there's a bed of them down there. And as a fish, you think, oh, there's a bigger one. The first thing you do is to go for the bigger one. It's a greed factor. Now, having said that, I've also made up some at 10mm. Let's give this a shake. Same thing applies. Again, you can use that for just normal sort of carp fishing. But if you're going specimen hunting, I've made up these ones which are 14mm. Give that a shake in here again. And now you're getting to the stage of looking at specimen fish. I don't personally go specimen hunting, but I am going to use these fairly soon, because what I'm proposing to do, after I've done this video, I'm going to go down to my local pond, where I know what to expect by way of fish, catching them on Sweetcorn. And if you've been watching my videos, you'll see that I catch quite a few fish down there, nothing all that massive, maybe up to about 10 pounds. And I know I can catch them on Sweetcorn and bread. So what I'm going to do is go down there and try the potato, just to see how well that fares against the corn, Sweetcorn. I'll start off with the potato in that case, and then see how that goes, and then I'll just try Sweetcorn to see if there's any real difference between the two baits. Okay, so as I've already shown you, if you want a 10mm pellet, cut this off at about 10mm, like so. This is the 10mm one. Push it in. I find that I'd do about 5 or 6 from this, and then push it through with your pusher stick. The pusher stick can be anything. You can use an old drill or something like that, and away you go with it. There we go. So that's how they start out, and that's how they finish. Now, as I say, you can just leave that for an hour or so, and it will soak up some of the flavour and the colour. But I just like to leave mine overnight. They don't go soft or soggy or anything. I tend to leave them in the fridge if it's a really hot day. If it's just a normal day, you can leave them out on the workbench or whatever, ready to go fishing. So that's it really, guys. The only thing to bear in mind is that if you're putting these on the hook, there is something to be aware of. Now, I tend to fish with a size 14 hook, which you can see here, and hooking it, if I come closer, there's the 14 hook. That's a 6mm pellet. You can just hook it on through the side like so, and that stays on perfectly well. You could also take it from the outside and hook it on in that way. What you don't want to do, and this is the important part here, this is quite a solid bait, as I've said before. You don't want to take the hook, push it in like that, thinking you're going to get a good hold on it, and end up with this. They're going to prick themselves like that, but because the bend of the hook is masked, basically all that will happen is they'll just prick themselves and then disappear. So be very aware that you don't do that. Now, of course, another option is just to hair rig it. And for those of you who use a hair rig, obviously, if you put it on a hair, this is going to be sitting at this point here, and the hook is going to be completely available to penetrate the fish's mouth. So that's all there is to it really then, folks. I suppose the only thing I've got left to do now is to go down and show you a proof of the pudding and actually catch some fish on pellets. So as I said a moment ago, I'll do that down at my local pond, but having given it just a little bit more thought, I'm going to take some of these really big pellets, the 14mm ones, and I'm going to take those down at my local river and try it down there too. The fish down there are generally somewhat bigger, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, let's give it a go. Let's see if I can get something really big out of there. Anyway, that's it for now then, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know the score. Click the like button. If you want to subscribe, yep, you can do that too. And until the next time, bye for now.